Hello, you're listening to the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. My name is Reichen Young, a student of the Acting Company for Excellence and host of the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. Today we are talking to Bonnie Grugle. Miss Bonnie is a trained dancer with more than 30 full-scale productions as a dancer, singer, and actor. While a classically trained soprano, her studies primarily focus on ballet, tap, and jazz, with an emphasis in musical theater. In any project, Miss Bonnie teaches technique and form, but also teaches the art and beauty of dance, which allows her students to become well-rounded performers as well as well-rounded humans. Welcome, Miss Bonnie.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's such an honor to have you on the show, and we're really excited to interview you. All right, so to begin it all, what sparked your interest in dance?
I started dancing when I was about 3. It was basically my sister went to dance, therefore I went to dance. I followed her everywhere.
Of course.
I didn't really fall in love with it until later, but it's always been part of my life and just part of my core being.
Wow. I always find that so fascinating. Like, I love when you find something, like, so early like that, and it really, like, just perseveres throughout the rest of your life. Like, for instance, like, I'm kind of like that with art. Like, I've always kind of, like, hung on to it, and it's always been, like, my special thing. And so I just love when, like, people get to find those. And so during your dance training, you've learned a technique called the 5 body points. Can you tell us more about that system and why you still incorporate it with your students?
Yes, so the 5 body points are from one of my teachers and mentors who actually passed away just this past Christmas. Her name was Paula Moreland, and she's worked with several actors and dancers in the community. Ooh. So many people know Miss Paula. But it's how to stand up straight. You're always told, stand up straight, stand up straight.
Of course.
But how do you do it? What is the proper technique? Very often people will look down at the floor or up in the rafters, and I tell them, my students, top of your head ain't cute. Look up. But it's not just for dancing. It is for acting and performing in general. It's proper alignment of your body, but it opens up your lungs to breathe better. As actors, as dancers, as singers, oxygen. You've got to be able to have it. And it's great for faking your way through things. In a dance audition, in a singing audition, stand up straight, present yourself, have that confidence, and you will look like you know what you're doing. But yeah, it really just boils down to how to stand up straight.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And especially, that definitely helps as a singer too, because especially like a lot of people now are like so slunched over, like either they've been working all day like on their computer or like on their phone, like just stuff like that. And so I can really understand how that would be incredibly important, and for singers and also dancers, because especially the dances here at NTPA can sometimes get a little crazy. So
yes.
I think that's very important. Thank you for telling us about that. During your dance training, you also studied the techniques of famed choreographer Bob Fosse. Tell us why learning Fosse's style is important to dancers.
Because Fosse is everything. I love Bob Fosse. Bob Fosse was a genius. He got dancers moving in ways that they had never been done before.
Wow.
And his technique kind of bleeds into so many other styles of dance. It's kind of like ballet. You don't realize you're doing Fosse, but you are. But his movement and his grace and how he got the dancers to move and express themselves, you don't see it anymore. But you are seeing that trail. And even if you're not doing a Fosse number, having just that style and technique will help you pop as a dancer and really make your movements sharper and cleaner. And just, I love Bob Fosse, sorry.
No, what's your favorite technique from Bob Fosse? Or is there something that you always like integrate, or is there like...
Well, just his oddity. So, lesser known fact about Bob Fosse is he had a bad back and he had bad knees.
Oh, and a dancer too.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is why if you ever look at Bob Fosse, there's always a crouch to his, because he was hurting.
Interesting.
So that's how he does. So he bends the bodies in weird angles because of his pain, but it made such beautiful pictures and great stories. So I always, even if I'm not doing something Fosse per se, I'm always trying to think, okay, how can I make this different? How can I make it unique so that the dancers aren't doing the same thing in every show? Just put your own spin on it.
Of course. And so that actually kind of reminds me of the cartoonist Charles Schulz. He always had that little like bump in his drawings. And so that slowly formulated like such like a unique look to it. And also like whenever you see it anywhere, you immediately know, okay, that's the like creator of Peanuts and all that stuff. Okay, so you have choreographed many shows during your career. What makes a good choreographer from musical theater, in your opinion?
A good choreographer is going to incorporate the story. There are phenomenal choreographers out there who do like dance numbers, competition numbers, showcase pieces. what makes musical theater different is these are characters and you're telling the story. So you really want to incorporate that in, like, what is this character doing that's going to make him be a little bit different? If you have a dance break, which a lot of the old school musicals have these wonderful dance breaks. I know. But it's like, okay, so yes, you have your elite dancers at the front. Yay, great, phenomenal. What else can you do with that dance break? So do you have a husband and wife in the show? Bring them into the number and let them have their moment. That helps them connect as actors, but it also brings the audience into maybe an intimate moment that you wouldn't normally see, that's not in the dialogue, that's not in the script, but it shows that character. So you really it's always about the story. Another thing you have to remember is this is musical theater.
Absolutely.
It's a performance, so don't have your actors facing upstage while they're singing.
Yes.
Or running upstairs while they're trying to sing and dance at the same time. I've seen many choreographers, I'm like, I'm doing what? We often joke, musical theater, you have to sing and dance at the same time. Yeah, that's not a joke. I try to always be mindful of what my actors are doing. Again, this is where your 5 body points helps, because you get your lungs open and you can get the oxygen. But like for a dance recital, that's 3 minutes.
Of course.
A show can be 2 or 3 hours. You've got to keep your stamina up, but I try not to kill my actors. I really try to be aware of, like, okay, you're tap dancing and singing. How can I help them get through that number?
Precisely.
Or if it's a lead, and that lead maybe isn't like super important to that number, I may have them like not be in the number, or if they need to be there, hanging out towards the back. Give them a minute to catch up and catch their breath.
Absolutely.
So, you need to be in shape to do musical theater, but try not to kill your people.
Of course. And so kind of bouncing off of that, what advice would you give to a person who wants to become a choreographer?
Know your story. Read the script. I've worked with so many people, actors, who don't know what happened in Act 2. Like, oh, she dies?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, did you not read your script? Know your story. Know your characters.
Absolutely.
Understand. And it's kind of a lost art form, but learn to read music.
Yes.
I'm one of the few choreographers I know who actually know how to read music. So, but because of my vocal training, but I know how to read a time signature. I know what 12/8 means and what that's going to mean to my actors.
Exactly.
And how they have to interpret that music. Or like the mysterious 4-count break. I know what a 4-count break is. I understand the musicality behind it. So learn to read music, but number one, know your story and know your characters and what their motivation is for this dance number.
That's beautiful. That's like such a wonderful description of also what it's like to be a choreographer, because you really do paint the picture on stage of the story and all that. And kind of going back to one of the basic fundamentals of like musical theater especially, is that once there's so much emotion in a scene, you have to go into song, and once there's so much emotion in that song, then you have to dance. And so really dance is like kind of like the ultimate like emotion kind of just capture, I guess.
Yes.
That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, you're not using words, you're not using anything, it's just a visual, and it's thank you, it's beautiful.
So how do you teach your choreography to students? Are there different styles of teaching methods when it comes to choreography?
And you really, it's based on your students, your audience that you're talking to. Obviously, working with 6th graders, or 6-year-olds. Okay, this is a little different. This is your right foot. This is your left foot.
Yep.
I have that conversation way more often than I should. It's very important to have a vocal rehearsal first. Learn the song.
Of course.
I say that, and yet I can't tell you how many times I've had to teach the choreography and they have no idea what the song is. Again, back to your actors, learn your songs on your own time, but sometimes it's for first rehearsal, you're walking in, handed a script, go.
Yeah, bam.
So that is my biggest challenge, is trying to teach them a song and the dance at the same time. In a perfect world, I start with the biggest groups first, usually the end and the hardest part.
Interesting.
Yeah. Their brains are fresh. They haven't been in a hot room for 2 hours.
Yep.
Get the hardest part in, the finale, get the big number. Okay, now let's back up and add to it. Start with, and then you kind of get easier and easier, because by then they're fried. Oh, I just have to step touch here. Fabulous. And they're like, oh my God, that's just the beginning. Yeah, but you already know the end. So you kind of build that way. But start with your big groups and then work down, and then people can work on their parts while you're doing other people. That kind of stuff. But yeah, I start at the end.
Well,
it works.
Well, no, that's and that's just like subtly behind the scenes. Like that's brilliant because not only that, but it also, of course, well, it also just. It spares your actors, and as you were saying earlier about that stamina, like you can't be like working on all the minuscule stuff and then they're tired and then say, "Hey, we're gonna do the big finale end of number."
Time for your jump splits.
Exactly,
Like,
this has to be good.
Yeah,
exactly, and you don't want to make like a 6-year-old do like a jump split after they've been like toe touching for the past like half hour.
Exactly.
So dance callbacks are very intimidating for a lot of students. What advice would you give to help calm their nerves?
Breathe.
Yep.
It sounds easy, but no, really, you'd be amazed at who's not breathing in the room. Remember, everyone at that table wants you to succeed. They want a good show. They want you to be in there. So everyone's like, oh, the director's out to get me. No, they're really not. Just breathe your way through. Keep your posture, keep your form. Know those body points and just get them so integrated in your body. Because even if the dance is too challenging for you, if you are performing it, if you are smiling, if you're looking up, if you're performing it, the director is at least going to be like, okay, this is not scaring them. It's points in your favor. Is it going to make a difference? Who knows? But any point in your favor is a good one. I often hear people say, oh, just don't think about it. Just go in there. No, think about it.
Yeah.
Picture the audition. Who's at the table? Who's in the room? What am I wearing? Picture as much as you can. You fear the unknown. So make it known. Figure out what that dance audition is going to look like. And then you walk in, you're like, oh, those people at the table. Well, I thought the table was over there. Well, but it's over there. I already thought about the table. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You know there's going to be a table of people staring at you. Mm-hmm. So just go through it in your mind. Find someone that's going to know the dance and stand right behind them so you can get it. And just breathe through it and do your best. And just know they are rooting for you. They are not out to get you. But if you're smiling and you're like, hey, at least I got my jazz hands, they'll be like, okay, they can't do this jump split, but they can do the jazz hands. So, okay, maybe I'll rework the choreography to get that person in. Because I loved how they looked.
Yes. And there's also definitely those people I'm sure you see that like have like that like special talent, whether it be like a certain jump that you like or a certain whatever, and I'm sure you also integrate that. But skipping back to something that I think was possibly the best quote I've ever heard was make the unknown known. And I think that's such a fantastic way just to go about your life because you don't ever want to throw anything at a chance unless it's like absolutely necessary. But even then, like it's best to know.
Yeah.
And so that's just also just a great thing to carry into your life. Like know what you're going for and just know what's going to be in the room, know how you're going to act, and just almost like you can almost say like, know you're going to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, one of my students, several students are auditioning for stuff right now. They're always auditioning. But she's like, go in the room like you've already got it. And I was like, there you go.
Exactly.
Or picture your worst case scenario. Take yourself through that horrible, oh my gosh, I messed up. It was so awful. Take yourself through your worst case scenario. Then whatever happens in reality, it wasn't as bad as what you thought it was going to be. It is better than, so go ahead and picture it.
Of course.
And breathe. Just keep breathing.
And finally, what advice would you give to students who want to pursue dancing and theater productions as a career?
Diversify. Right now, like everything is kind of hip hop and big and jazzy on stage.
Yes.
Great. Learn that. Absolutely. But know your ballet. Know your basic time steps. Know your jazz square. Go back to your basics because that is the root of everything. If you want to do this as a hobby, great. You can be picky about what shows you want to do.
Of course.
I'm only going to do these particular shows that has this style of dancing. If you want to do it as a job, take any role you get.
Yes.
Which is, it's going to be your Oklahomas. It's going to be your old school Rodgers and Hammerstein. Know your classics. It pays the rent.
Absolutely.
So know all kinds of dance. My classes love this, but I use them as my guinea pigs a lot of times. When I'm choreographing for a show, I'm like, okay, does this work? I will teach it to my students. And they're like, why are we learning this? Because all training is good training. But
Absolutely.
yes, I choreograph for Scrooge a lot, and so my students often work with the Edwardian. I call it Edwardian Broadway cheese because that's what it is. It's not an official dance method,
of course.
But they have to know it because how many at Christmas? How many versions of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge? How many of those are out there?
A million.
Is it a paying gig? Get in there and get it. So absolutely be diverse. Something for, I'm using air quotes, non-dancers. I get my singers and my actors like, well, I'm a singer. I don't need to dance. Have you ever seen a musical where the lead didn't at least walk to the beat of a music?
Exactly. Do something.
Do something. Have a basic basis. Basic basis? Well, have a basic, sure. Have a basic understanding of dance, because that makes you more versatile and more hireable.
Of course.
It's all about getting the job. And if this is what you want to do professionally, take any job you get. So get diverse, be multifaceted. Say, when a director looks like, ooh, can they do that? Yes, because I saw them do it. I know they can do it. So they can throw you into anything.
And also just be overqualified. Like, I think that's always super important.
Yes, be overqualified.
But just great points. Oh, and speaking of points, just real quick, what are the 5 body points?
Oh,
just
okay.
like on yourself.
Chin up.
Chin up.
Yeah, not too high.
Okay, I gotta do it in the room. You guys can't. Yeah, you can't see it right now, but
this is a visual. But basically, you're playing to the back of the house.
Okay, playing to the back of the house.
Yeah, just chin up, just enough to don't strain your vocal cords.
Okay.
Shoulders down. We often hear about shoulders back. That is not a natural position.
No.
Shoulders down, but roll your shoulders back and then down, and that opens you up. This is great for sitting at the computer all day.
Yeah.
Roll those shoulders back.
Okay.
Number 3 is core tight. We often see, again, this is a visual, but everyone will be kind of leaning on one hip.
Of
if
course.
one leg is bent, your core is not tight.
Exactly.
Stand up. Now, if it's a character choice, absolutely. But keep that core tight. It is all about inner strength and keeping your chin lifted. The 4th is your weight should be slightly forward on your feet, not on your toes, but just slightly forward. If you're on your heels, that concaves your body.
Okay.
And just undoes everything we just did. But on your feet, on your toes, when you're ready to walk forward, you're there. If you're on your heels, you pick up one foot, you rock backwards onto your heel. If you're on your toes, you're moving forward. And the last part, I've noticed girls are told this, boys aren't. Feminist soapbox here, is there's a string from the top of your head pulling you up. Okay, we are not skeletons in a lab.
No.
The string is more from your collarbone or your rib cage. Your string pulls from the front. This lifts your chest up, opens those lungs for oxygen.
Yes, it does. I just felt it.
But also, it gets your face in the light.
It does.
We are, we're actors.
Yes.
We want our face in the light.
That's like all we want.
That's all we want in life, is to be in that light. So lift from your collarbone, from your rib cage, and that gets your face into the light and opens up everything.
It does. Whoa, I'm going to incorporate that right there.
So there you go.
Wow. Yeah, you guys didn't see that, but like I went through like a whole me trying to slowly figure out like exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Ooh, thank you.
Sure.
And now, Miss Bonnie,
All
it's time for the Ace Up Your Sleeve 5 Quick Questions, where you must answer every 5 quick question quickly and without explanation. Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1, what was the name of the first show you performed?
Wizard of Oz, age 11.
What was your favorite show?
Jesus Christ Superstar.
What is your favorite role?
Alice Beinecke, Addams Family.
What is your dream role?
Gertrude McFuzz from Seussical.
And what is your favorite candy?
Chocolate.
Oh, I completely agree.
Just chocolate.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Bonnie, for talking with us on the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. And until next time, I'm Reichen Young. Remember, you always have a winning hand with an ace up your sleeve. The Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast is brought to you by the students of the Acting Company for Excellence at North Texas Performing Arts. This podcast was created by Reichen Young, with sound design and editing by Latham Young. NTPA is a nonprofit organization dedicated to developing the character of youth through quality performing arts education and family entertainment. Learn more about upcoming programs and events at ntpa.org.